All right, guys, great to see everybody, and I'll make a couple comments at the beginning here, and then I'm certainly going to open up to any questions that anybody has. I thought we thought our guys played with a great deal of energy and passion. We certainly were not as clean as what we would like, but the performance really was physical at the point of attack on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We were able to, I thought, have a tempo throughout the whole game. I got a little bit concerned when they scored right before half and the momentum had shifted. Without question, that fourth down stop, I thought, was really a key play in the game. And, it allowed us to be on the short field, and then we came up with a couple takeaways. And unbelievable venue that UNLV's in. It was really enjoyable for our players to play in that Allegiant Stadium. It was really good to get playing again. I think it was 22 days until we had played. And so credit to our players. They really came out and practiced. We had composed 3 different game plans, and they had bought into all 3 of them. This was the one that stuck, and they executed it pretty doggone well. And so we're really pleased. The only injury that I don't have an update on yet is X, our running back. We'll get some more information later on today. If I had it right now, I'd give it to you. So on to the University of New Mexico. Coach Gonzalez is the new head coach there. He's an alum. He enjoys a really good national reputation as an excellent defensive coach, and I know he has a great deal of passion for the Lobos. Along with that, a good friend of mine, Rocky Long, is now endeared to being a full-time defensive coordinator, and that's his old school as well. He had spent several years at the University of Wyoming. My assessment is New Mexico's got good players, and their play is better than what their record shows, and that's not coach speak. I think they've got good players, and it's going to be important for us to go back to Las Vegas. That's our home base right now. Execute our game plan. We need to have a really good week of practice, get our guys understanding what the game plan is, and then be able to play at a fast pace. So at this time, I'm going to open up to any questions that are on the panel here. Yeah, I think that's Michael.
Hey, Craig, just one other depth chart question. I did not see Gunnar Gentry on there. What is his?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and step out on a limb on both he and Cole. Both of those guys are currently under I don't know what you'd say. It's not like COVID. They don't have COVID, but they've been contact traced, and so they're not going to be available this week. Okay, Eric.
Mountain West Conference announced a sweep of defensive and offensive player of the week, as well as special teams, and that was Utah State that did that against UNM. Any comments respectively with respect to the game you're going into in that conference back in 3 years?
Well, you need to rephrase that again. I kind of lost you a little bit, Eric. Let's go ahead and start, and I'll pay better attention.
Just curious for your comment with respect to Utah State's sweep of Mountain West Conference Player of the Weeks, defensive, offensive, and their play against UNM. Any prospects of a sweep this week for UW?
Well, you know what? We're going to try to put one foot in front of the other and get a first down, and that's not coach speak. Utah State really came out and they played well. They've got good players, and I think it's just a point that every Saturday you better be bringing your A game. And I know that Coach Gonzalez was a little bit disappointed in their effort with the Lobos against the Aggies, but the Aggies played well. It's going to be important for us to play well, and that's about the only comment I'll make. Cody.
Greg, just how impressed have you been with New Mexico's resolve and all they've been through? I mean, having to set up shop in Las Vegas,
right.
They haven't been home. I mean, what can you say about that? It's pretty incredible.
Well, I think it's certainly resourceful from their administration, and we applaud them because, all the Mountain West schools kind of all gathered around. We're all in different, locations. We've got different health guidelines and different requirements, and the state of Nevada has got a pretty stringent guideline, and so as a result, their football team had to relocate. and that's quite an undertaking. You know, for me, as a young coach, or not even as a young coach, but as a coach, I went on a bowl trip where we were gone for like 2 weeks, and you stay in a hotel for 2 weeks and practice. I mean, you're about ready to say, the heck with this, and they've been at it, and they've been away, their coach has been away from their families. I think I applaud them, and we applaud their willingness to keep on playing and go ahead and field a football team and incur some expense. And so kudos to their president and their coaching staff and their players. Yep, go ahead.
In all your years coaching, have you ever had a situation where you've played 2 games in the same city 2 weeks in a row against a different opponent? And what sort of challenges will this weird sort of trip over the last 2 weeks kind of challenge you with?
I really don't think the challenge as far as getting on an airplane and going to Albuquerque, or getting on an airplane and going to Las Vegas and playing at Sam Boyd. No, I've not experienced that. But every week there's new things that occur this year. We're going to be staying at the same hotel. The game venue is going to be a little bit further away, but the field's the same dimension. There are no fans in the stands, so I don't think outside of a good New Mexico team there's going to be any difference. But the answer is no. Never done this. Okay, I was wondering if Tracy was going to hop on. Tracy, I believe you're muted. There you go.
Okay.
There we are.
I was just wondering in advance of talking to a couple of your younger players today, the moves with Christensen and Pate to put them into the top of the depth chart, what was involved there? What were your thoughts on doing that with those 2 young men?
What we saw during fall camp, Parker had really done some good things in practice. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about, Tracy? Yeah, had really done some great things. He had redshirted last year, but when given an opportunity, he was able to block well. He's got good receiving skills. He's strong physical, and you saw on the it was hopefully was going to be a touchdown. It wasn't. You saw his explosiveness, and so competency in practice, and so that was his decision there. With Jalen Pate, I believe that's the other guy. Jalen had redshirted, and really had shown his ability to go out and make plays, and he's got good strength, and so we evaluate everything, Tracy, and watch every play and put our players on the field who we think give us the best chance to win. Okay?
Did you not see me?
No, I can't. Now I got you. They got Davis, I can tell you, I am an IT challenge guy, and I didn't set this up. So we got different people coming in at different times, and now I got you. So you got a big screen.
Okay, cool. My arm was about to fall off over here. But
Now I can. Now you're there. So take no personal offense to this. The other thing I'm going to try to say too is I tried to be funny after the game and make a couple comments in different times. You know what? There's a lot of comedians out of work, and I enjoy my job, and so I'm just going to answer questions. Go ahead, Davis.
I think we all appreciate that. It's nice to not
Yeah.
come robot.
Yeah.
I'm curious, just similarities, differences between this New Mexico team and last, and how they might challenge you the most.
Compared to where they were,
Yeah, that's true.
offensively, some of the schemes are similar, but there are some differences. Defensively, it's significantly different. This is Rocky Long's defense, and he'll stand over on that sideline, and he dials up all these different pressures, and so that's completely different. Now, their personnel is somewhat similar, and I'm sure those players are getting used to, the nuances of their offense and defense. But just a short story about Rocky. One of our, and I won't name the coach that was in the league, and he was a head coach, and we're all trying to break down this explosive defense that Rocky's got out there. He's been doing it, and we have analytics and we have all these computer things, and this coach, he was a good friend of mine, he said, hell, it can't be that complicated. He's got a little deal in his palm as his hand, and he dials up all this stuff. But I think Rocky's got a long memory, and he'll challenge us with those schemes, and that's probably the biggest difference.
Craig, do you look at San Diego State film from the last few years while he was there?
Well, there's a lot of things we look at, and I'm going to be pretty gray as far as what we do look at, but I think certainly any coach would be prudent to do that. Yes, Tracy.
Just a quick question. Earlier you talked about Cole and somebody else under contract.
Yeah,
And it got blurred out a little bit.
Yeah, it was Gunnar. Yep. Cody, you're up in the left-hand corner there. I don't know where your sources are, but your sources are right on. I'm going to let it go at that. Sources. Okay. All right, I told myself I wouldn't be funny, so I'm going to get serious again. Go ahead, Cody.
Craig, how much did Jalen Tate, how much did it help him to have Garrett Krall back this week? It seemed like this was probably his best outing so far this year.
Well, I think it helped everybody on defense. Garrett added great presence in our locker room. He brought a great deal of playmaking ability on the field and confidence and leadership. And without question, between him and Chad, they're two bona fide players, and it was great to have him out there. And I think that, gave a real sense of confidence to Jalen. And also, they probably said, shoot, we're not going to run towards Krall's way anymore. Let's go try Jalen. He had an opportunity to make some plays. Tracy, yes.
Following up on the talk about Krall, you had a lot of walk-ons that have wound up becoming team captains.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just a coincidence, or is there something you guys see that these guys develop?
I think, first of all, and thanks for bringing it up, Tracy, and noting that. I think, first of all, it's part of, and I know culture gets overused, that term, but we set a foundation that walk-ons were going to be valued in our program a long time ago, about 7 years ago. And we have a developmental program. Those guys have had an opportunity to develop as student athletes academically, and certainly with strength and condition and nutrition and then coaching. And so the cream rises to the top, and what you're seeing is these guys being given an opportunity, and they make the most of it. And our players recognize that those captains are not voted on by the coaches. Those captains are selected by their peers. And so I think it's, in my mind, that's the biggest compliment a guy can receive as a football player, to be chosen as a leader amongst your peers. And it's great to see Garrett as one of those guys. You bet, Tracy. Michael.
Obviously, Logan Harris's return was pretty big for you guys. I know he battled mono the last few weeks. I think you said he lost some weight. Were you surprised with how well he was able to step back in and how quickly he kind of recovered from all that?
I was a little bit surprised about the weight. He had lost 25 pounds and put most of it back on. I need to probably do the other formula and lose it like him. I don't want to get mono again, but we were pleased with him being out there. I think he can still improve some. There was some rust that he had in the game, but his presence out there was certainly noted, and a lot of those holes that were opened up, those can be attributed by, without question, those guys that are up front, and he did a nice job with that. Cody?
Craig, speaking of those holes up front, it seemed like Keegan Kreitner just had his way watching the film, just blowing the nose off all day long, and just kind of, was he the one who kind of really set the tone for you guys on Saturday?
Well, I don't know he's a center and he's one of our captains, so that's going to set part of a tone right there. I thought some of our other guys played well, but he had, I think, his best game, and you're right. I mean, he was able to dominate, and when we're able to do that, that gives us a big advantage. And so, it started, I think the third play was a long touchdown, and we had a couple plays that didn't go for much, but outside of that, most of the time at least it was a 4 to 5 yard gain. Okay, guys, want to say thanks for being on, and just a quick question. I mean, we are where we're at, but how have these Zoom calls worked for you guys? Have you been able to get the information other than maybe somebody being muted or, Davis was off the screen there, but by and large, have you been able to get your information? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Been great.
Been great. Well, it's great seeing you guys on here. Quite frankly, I miss you around the room here. I've got McKinney and Harkins to look at. That's about it. But anyhow, we appreciate the coverage that you're giving us on an uncharted year, and we're excited about playing. And all indications are thumbs up. We'll be playing again this week. Okay. Thanks a lot.